Better get the coleslaw, y'all, because we're having us a barbecue.
Good evening. Welcome to tonight's live stream. I'm going to get started in a minute. I just need to let everybody on social media know that the stream is currently on the air. Okay, before I get into tonight's topic, I wanted to give everybody a progress report on the SJS Direct 2025 catalog. And right now, I have the second SJS Direct book, Esteemed Season of the Witch Girl. I've got the proof copy here with Bill Walko's fantastic art and Romel Yamul's colors. And this book is up and ready to go on for sale on April 25th. So you can put in your pre-order on Amazon and other online booksellers for Esteemed Season of the Witch Girl. And the SJS Direct 2025 catalog kicks off on March 21st with John Haynes' A Thorn in My Side. And that book will be available coming up tomorrow, starting in March 21st. So these are the first two books right now of the SJS Direct 2025 catalog. And I have Spinsterella Goth Girl Summer getting ready to come up. And I wanted to give everybody an update. We're going to have a comic review video of Nick Capone's Purity. The first two issues, I'm going to be reviewing them on Tuesday at 2 o'clock in the 2 o'clock video. So this is a fun comic that is a mix of, that reminds me a lot of old school Marvel and manga. And it's one that I highly recommend you go out here and pick up. So this is a book that, again, Nick did a fantastic job on, and I can't wait to share it with you on Tuesday at 2 o'clock. Now, in addition to that, I have been filming another action figure video review, and I'll be reviewing Frazetta Girl's Vampirella action figure coming up in an upcoming video. So be out on the lookout for this. This figure is absolutely fantastic, and I can't wait to share all the details with you of Frazetta Girl's second figure. A great-looking figure which basically improves a lot on what we saw with the Fire and Ice Tigra. And this figure, again, I'm going to go more in depth on it, but this figure is absolutely great. Now, tonight's show is where I'm going to go a bit more in depth on the 57 and broke actress Celeste Jonet, as she calls herself. And in this video, I'm going to take a minute to kind of listen to her statements and show and break it down based on my expertise from my over 25 years of studying the entertainment industry and my years of experience as related to the business of entertainment, because I believe that she made a lot of mistakes as related to trying to enter in the world of entertainment at 54 years old, and because she didn't have guidance from a man who was in the entertainment business. This is the reason why this woman, basically at 54 years old, went broke at 57, because she didn't really understand the entire business of the entertainment industry. And I'm going to go in depth breaking down her talking points as I go and again look at the video she posted on TikTok. Now, she has a video on YouTube, but I believe I can go a bit more in depth based on what she presented on TikTok, because it's a bit shorter. Now, what she presents here as related to her talking points, again, are going to show you where I'm going to talk about what she does and where she made her mistakes as related to trying to break into the entertainment industry.
As you all know, one of my slogans is truth, transparency, and triumph. And I have, been wanting to share things, but it is difficult because I battle with who's going to watch it? Is my family going to see this? Are those quote unquote so called friends or my foes, whatever, going to see this? But I also say, which is my tagline, I tell my truth without shame and guilt so you can tell yours. Well, I'm going to start here. I've been trying to figure out where to start. I pre-recorded originally a video about me and the first guy that I dated in college.
Now, that first statement there, she's talking about a guy she dated in college, and that really lays the foundation for the big problem with Shinless Jonay, and that is she does not understand how to follow the lead of a man, and sadly because she doesn't know how to follow the lead of a man, she doesn't know how to, again, work with a man, and this is one of the reasons why she's in the situation that she's in right now, because when it comes to a field like entertainment, you need the guidance of a man as related to things, because in this entertainment business is a one that's really rough, and you need some guidance and leadership of a man. And this is what's showing me a bit of a problem, because it looks like she's one of these strong, independent, feminist, indoctrinated women, like I talk about in my book, The Woman Crisis. And this strong, independent black woman basically wants to do things on her own and in her own way. And this is what we see the start of this problem, possibly in the time that she's dating in college. So I'm seeing where the problems is starting, and it's starting because, again, this woman cannot follow the lead of a man or follow the lead of anyone and wants to do things all her own way. And sadly, as she looks to do things her own way, she doesn't see that going her way is the reason why she wound up going nowhere.
And I scrapped all of that because it was really the way I did it was boring.
No, it was telling the truth about you, and the whole thing is she didn't want to have the truth told about herself, because when it comes down to women, like I talk about in my book, Stop Simping, they lie, and they lie all the time, and basically what she wanted to do was omit all those truths about herself that she would have told on herself. So that's why she wanted to not talk about that part, because again, it would have told us all what type of black woman she was. Again, strong, independent, belligerent, and proud, and someone who again starts with a foundation of dysfunction, even though she's single, successful, and well-educated, but not smart enough to understand how things work in this world, because she doesn't know how to her role as a woman to be a helpmeet to a man, and again wants to do things her own way, and that's the start of her problems right there and right now.
I was bored with my own video, but I don't know how long this is going to be, but like I'm in my car, I'm actually at work, and this is during lunchtime, and I said, Celeste, if you don't do it now, you won't do it. It has been really tough for me, and because of some decisions that I have made that I regret making. I always talk about Atlanta, and I feel like when I left my corporate job making a good salary and decided to chase a dream, thinking everything would fall into place, things would be in order, my life blew up. It has not been the same in 3 years. And I've had a lot of thoughts around it, and I may talk longer than I need to, but so I'm sorry. And I might have to break this up. But when today was a hard day. Reality is something else. I recognize that most of it is my doing and undoing. And honestly, I really want God to wave a magical wand and take me back to the day I was going to resign and listen to the advice I was given. But I didn't, because I think I'm grown and I have the answers. And I found out I don't. I used to say I would want to go back before that bad relationship out of college. And I'll talk about that. But I don't want to go back that far. I just want to go back 3 years. The scary part about it is, even if I had made what I thought would be the perfect decisions, it doesn't mean anything would have ended up differently. I still could have been in this predicament. I didn't see this coming. I thought I had prepared, and evidently I didn't, which makes me think about a couple of things. Okay, so what happened was, let me just go back. When I left my corporate job, I was 54, I believe, 53, 54. And I'm on the latter half of my life. And sometimes I think and ask myself, what was I thinking? Was it really that important to you? Could you not have just kept it going and done this later? But I didn't. So I stepped out. I believed everything would fall into place and I would be okay. And y'all, when God tells you something, listen and be obedient to it. And I didn't. And I know that is part of the reason I'm having issues today. When I left to go to Atlanta to pursue acting, I kept hearing, you're not going to need to look for a job. You're not going to need to look for a job.
Now, this is a major mistake that this woman made as related to the overall business of entertainment, and the biggest mistake that she made was quitting her job. Now, this woman went out here and made this impulsive decision to go quit her job, to go into acting, but one of the biggest mistakes that a lot of kids make who are younger than her is that they go into this business, again, with a lot of hopes and dreams, and that's what this woman did at 54 years old. She went into this business with emotions of hopes and dreams, and was not understanding that when it comes to Hollywood, you cannot come into this entertainment business on hopes and dreams. Now, this woman went from Memphis to Atlanta talking about she was going to be an actress, and sadly, she did not go out here and seek the counsel of someone who had an understanding of the entertainment business, because someone who had an understanding of the entertainment business, the first thing we're going to tell you is to go out here and do your research. I mean, that's something that I did, and I was, again, in my 30s when I was out here writing screenplays, and as I was out here writing screenplays, I understood the first thing that I was going to need was a full-time job, and the second thing I was going to need was a lot of patience. Those are the two things that I understood about the entertainment business, because there's an old saying that it takes 15 years for a script to get greenlit, and that doesn't include the whole process. So when it comes to this whole entertainment business, it runs real slow. And sadly, this woman at 54 years old, she went out here on a whim, thinking, oh, I'll just quit my job and everything will fall into place. Well, no, that's not how it works. I mean, I have heard so many stories about 18-year-old kids who decide to leave their towns, get on a Greyhound bus, head down to Los Angeles, and wind up at the bus station on 7th Street, and they go there on a dream, thinking everything will fall into place because they are the prettiest person in their in their town, or the person who is extremely attractive. Then they wind up in the shock of their lives when they find out how competitive the entertainment business is, and they find out that there are 100 women who are just as attractive as they are, or 100 dudes who are just as handsome as they are, and they wind up in the shock of their lives when they find out how competitive this entertainment business is. And that's basically what I believe happened to Celeste Jonay. She basically wound up for that rude awakening as related to the entertainment business, and sadly she didn't understand that everything in this business is really rough and really slow, especially for a greenhorn who doesn't understand the game. And since she didn't understand the game, she went there thinking everything would fall into place. But the thing is, with the entertainment business, nothing falls into place. And the reason why it doesn't fall into place like that is because it's a very, again, rough business with a lot of competition. I mean, because the jobs are extremely scarce. And this woman basically came in without understanding how the business worked. She went out here thinking that, oh, I'll go down here and I'll get one of these jobs and I'll be acting jobs and everything will be okay. No, that's not how it works, because you have to understand that you need a day job. And this is something I told a viewer a couple of weeks ago. They asked me what you needed to do as related to this business. And one of the things that I advise them to do is, 1, get you a skill, 2, get you a day job, and 3, don't quit it. And you don't quit it because, again, when it comes down to this entertainment business, it's really competitive, and again, the gigs are very hard to get, and that's why you don't quit your day job. No, what you do is go out here, and the first thing that you're going to do is not go out here looking for acting jobs. No, the first thing you're going to do is go out here and look for an agent. And that's mistake number 1 that this woman made, going from Memphis to Atlanta. She went from Memphis to Atlanta, and the first thing she's thinking about is going to pursue acting and not ever considering getting an agent, because in order to get jobs in the acting field, you need an agent. And while you have your day job, the thing that you're gonna do is look for the D-list agency, because you are not an A-list performer or have any sort of credit, so you're not anybody they're going to take serious, and they're not going to take you seriously because you are a rookie as related to them, because unless you've got credits that's like in things like short films, or you've got credits in roles in independent movies, you are on the D-list, and at the bottom of the D-list at that. And that's where this woman made a mistake as related to doing business. She didn't even understand how the infrastructure of the business worked. No, she just went out here on emotion, impulsively, saying, oh, I'm going to go out here and be an actress. But the whole thing is, you got to know how the business works first. You got to know how the business operates. And the first part of the entire business is you don't go out here, again, thinking I'm going to go out here and pursue acting without understanding who gets you a job. That's the mistake that this woman made. Again, a major tactical error as related to the acting business, because when it comes to the acting business, the first thing you're gonna look for is an agent. Again, in order for you to book acting jobs anywhere from stage plays to short films to acting roles that are union, you have to have an agent. And this woman's sitting here talking about, I'm pursuing acting and I'm gonna go out here and be an actress. And the statement that again shows me how green she is as related to the business is, she's sitting up here talking about pursuing acting and ain't got no creds, ain't got no agent. And that right there already tells me this is someone who is really green and is not really having a good understanding of the business.
To look for a job. And unbeknownst to me, he had something waiting for me. Before I left, someone here in Memphis connected me to somebody in Atlanta about, working a job. And I started going through the process, the interview, filling out the application, and able to do the job. It was something that was right up my alley. Unfortunately, I allowed myself to I self-sabotaged. And I said, you know what? I can't do this job.
No, you got stars in your eyes, you got your head gassed up, and you thought you were going to make it big as a star. That's what happened to this chick. She got her head gassed up. It wasn't that she couldn't do the job. It's not she didn't want to do the job, because she wanted to be an actress. And again, because her ego got in the way, what happened with this woman is she basically, again, sabotaged her own opportunities to be able to make a living in Atlanta. Because, yeah, you got the job, but after you got the job, the next thing you should have been working on is getting an agent. Again, in this entertainment business, first thing you need to have is an agent, because when it comes down to booking gigs, people are going to ask who you're represented by. And they're asking that because when it comes to these companies, again, they don't want liability for individuals. They don't deal with individuals. They deal with agents, and again, the agents book you gigs. So that's where she made, again, another tactical error because she had stars in her eyes and thought she was going to go out here and, again, make it big and basically, again, sabotage that good job.
I don't know when I'll need off, when I'll do this, A, B, C, and D. Made an excuse because I'm thinking it's going to be okay. You'll get someplace steady, consistent. You'll be able to take off when you need to and so forth. Because I'm thinking I don't want to interrupt or get anybody else in trouble.
No, you got your head gassed up again. Again, nobody's going to get in trouble as related to those jobs, as related to you taking time off. No, when it comes down to, again, these acting jobs, they're basically, unless you're an in-demand actor, again, when you're on the level this woman is on, again, when you're on the D list, again, the jobs are not coming in that frequently because nobody knows who you are, and you just basically take in whatever you can get. So this woman was, again, had stars in her eyes and didn't understand how it worked for D-list performers who were just starting out. Again, at 57, she basically had the knowledge of the entertainment business of a teenager. Again, when it comes down to these 16, 17, 18-year-old kids who are doing local theater, they don't really know how the entertainment business works and how you basically are going to be through long periods of being where you're not going to be booking acting gigs. And again, when you understand the business, you're like, okay, I got this day job and I need to go be on this day job because it's going to be a long time in between these auditions and these go-sees, especially when you are on the D list. And when you're on the D list and you're a black performer, again, there's a stiff competition for these roles. That's something that this woman really didn't understand. Again, stiff competition because when it comes to these screenwriters all over as related to things, they basically want to get a script sold. And since they want to get scripts sold, they are not really writing material for black performers. And even worse, they're not writing many scripts for older black performers. So this woman, again, she really didn't do her research as related to this field. And if she had did just a little research as related to this field, she would have realized, you know, this dream of being an actress really was a super high risk, and super high risk at 54 years old, because like I talked about in my video, when it comes down to older black actresses, the amount of material out there is slim to none, and it's slim to none because many screenwriters, black, white, or whatever race, are not really writing material for older black performers, because when it comes down to those screenwriters, they want to sell their scripts, and these stage play writers, they want to sell their scripts. And again, in order for them to sell their scripts, they have to make characters a certain way. Usually with screenplays, they make most of the performers usually young white characters, and when it comes down to those black stage play writers, they usually write roles for mostly younger people, because young people are somebody they can use to draw in a crowd. And when it comes down to those roles that are out there for black actresses, usually many of the roles for older black actresses, usually they go out here and hire people who are already established because they are a draw. And that's one of the things that this woman really wasn't thinking about. She didn't understand that in this business, again, they want to get people who can be a draw. And when it comes down to a 54-year-old woman, who she was at the time, they're thinking, hey, I can go get Halle Berry. I can go get many women like Layla Roshan. I can go get one of them and have a marquee name on my project, and have that marquee name be able to sell my project, because once people see that marquee name, it's going to be bigger than Celeste Jonah. But sadly, this woman didn't understand how the business was. And again, she's talking about getting other people into trouble. No, you needed to be thinking about keeping yourself together. And again, the thing that she needed to do was, again, focus on getting on that job, doing the best job she possibly could do, get herself established as related to getting her bills paid. And then, as she's getting her bills paid, go out here and look to find an agent, and then the agent will send you on some go-sees, basically for things like small parts that can be done in a day, things on short films, things that will get you some creds here and there because the material ain't really out there. But the whole thing is she didn't know how to work the business and basically worked herself over.
If I had been a little bit more wise and I guess maybe selfish, I would have taken the job without question.
And you should have taken that job without question because that job would have been a way to make a living. It would have been a way to go out here and make herself some money. But sadly, this woman really wasn't thinking critically. And since she wasn't thinking critically, she'd been out here on emotion, went out here on emotion impulsively, thinking, hey, I don't understand. I don't understand how this business works. Let me go talk to someone who knows how the business works. No, she went out here on her own, without ever talking to someone who knew how the business worked. And sadly, that's why she got worked over and is sitting here talking about she's 57 and broke, but she's 57 and broke because, again, she had a hard head. And again, the hard head is why she's got a soft behind at this point and is in a rough place right now, struggling because she struggled to understand concepts as related to that relationship with that guy in college about submitting to a man, following a man's lead, or understanding to go out here and seek the advice of someone who knows a bit more about the business than you. That's where this woman basically failed. She failed because she just, again, was too proud to go out here and get help. And that's a major flaw with a lot of black women. They're too proud to admit, hey, I need some help. I need to go talk to someone who knows a little bit better than me, someone who has a better understanding of business, somebody who understands entertainment, because someone who, like myself, who again has been studying the entertainment industry for ever since he was a teenager, has been again putting written scripts and has submitted scripts, understands how rough this business is. And the first thing I'm again telling everyone, I'm going to repeat it once more because I want people to understand this. Keep your day job. Things are very slow as related to this whole process of entertainment. This process is slow and you need to keep your bills paid. And as you need to keep your bills paid, get the stars out of your eyes and go out here and work on these jobs until you again get that final offer. And again, that offer may not come in any time. And again, understand that it may be a while before you get any offers, but you got to go out here and put in that work and take care of your business.
It was in October of 2022, rolling into November. I did not find a job until, oh my gosh, September of 2022, almost a whole year. I hustled. I drove DoorDash. I did Amazon deliveries. I worked overnight at Walmart.
I wish I could have got some of those jobs. She's sitting there saying that, these jobs that were rough, but the whole thing is, as a guy who lost his job in 2008, I could feel for her in this part, but I understand how hard these jobs are to get because I tried to even get some of these jobs, and she doesn't understand how blessed she is to have some of these jobs. Again, they don't pay much, but they are something, and the whole thing is, like my late father used to say, a little something is better than nothing. And she was, again, in a way, she was getting jobs, and again, but the sad part is she didn't know how to manage her life or manage her money, and this is where she was messing up as related to things. She had the good jobs, but because she was, again, had those stars in her eyes and didn't have somebody there to say, no, you don't quit your jobs. If you get a good job, you stay at that job, and you just basically do this on the side. That's what I was doing before I lost my job. I was out here, again, putting in that work, but the whole thing is I knew that it wasn't going to really be anything big unless God worked it out. And again, I wasn't expecting anything to fall into place myself. I was like, look, when I had this job in 2008 at the library, I said, I'm just going to work this job, mind my business, and do this stuff on the side. But this woman basically was in reverse. She ran on impulse again, and basically, again, went out here again. Now she is struggling at these jobs, not understanding how blessed she was to even get those jobs, because I've been trying to put in jobs for places like this, and I can't even get a call back.
I did everything I could, and I'm sorry, y'all. I did it's called Insta work, everything I could And then I also ended up withdrawing my pension. And
Now that was a dumb move right there. You never withdraw your pension and your retirement. No, you never do that at all. And again, this is where this woman needed the advice of a man. And I know some people say, "Oh, you shouldn't be talking about how men were into things." But again, a man who's a critical thinker would have never withdrew his pension or his savings. No, he would have just gone out here and grinded and hustled and then basically cut down his expenses to the bone. That's what I had to do from about 2002 to about 2008, as I was, again, getting $60 a month from a relative. I mean, I had to, again, cut everything down because, again, you don't want to go into your savings. You want to, again, keep your retirement because that's what you need. But this woman, again, continued on this pipe dream and sadly wound up making financial ruin because she didn't have anybody there to tell her, okay, if you got to go out here to do this to survive, then this dream of yours is turning into a nightmare, and you need to, again, wake up from this nightmare and deal with reality.
in my retirement because I just didn't have enough money.
And that's when you should have put a period at the end of things and let things go.
This is not how I expected things to go.
No, that's how it goes in entertainment because the entertainment business is a rough business. And again, it's a very expensive business. I mean, when it comes to the entertainment business, you got lots of expenses. You got headshots. Again, you got to get gas for your car to go to these different auditions and go-sees. You got to go out here and be able to have ways to pay your bills as you're incurring all these expenses. Sometimes you even got to buy different outfits to go to these auditions. I mean, these are things that are all part of the business, but sadly this woman didn't understand these costs because she didn't, again, like the Bible says, count the cost. And sadly, since she didn't count the cost as related to this business, she was thinking, oh, things were going to go easy. I'm going to go out here and be an actress. I'm going to go out here and get parts. No, that's not how it goes. No, even if you get an agent, you're going to be going on auditions and go-sees. And during those auditions and go-sees, you're going to be dealing with a lot of rejection. You're going to be dealing with a lot of people saying no. And a lot of people saying no as you got bills coming up. As you've got bills coming up, you're going to have people, again, saying no. And that's why you needed to stay at that full-time job and basically use your personal days or your sick days to go on these auditions, because sometimes you got to go on a sneak tip because that's just how it is. But sadly, this woman, again, did not have that guidance or advice. She was expecting, again, things to flow smoothly, but it don't flow like that in the entertainment business. I just got through writing about this in my upcoming book, Spinsterella Goth Girl Summer, where Matilda enters the world of goth modeling and online modeling. And in that book, I again present my expertise as related to the entertainment business. And again, just like you were thinking, expecting things to go one way, it's not going to go that one way. It's not going to go easy. That's what many kids out here think who are 18, 19 years old. And that's where this woman's mental maturity basically is to me. She's got the mental maturity of a teenager. I talk about this in my book, Why 70% of Black Women Are Single. Some of these chicks, basically, they're 57 years old, but they still got the mind of a 14 to 16-year-old kid. And since they got the mind of a 14 to 16-year-old kid, they're not thinking like an adult woman. And she was expecting things to go like the delusion she had in her head. Oh, I'm this hot actress. Again, I talk about this in The Woman Crisis, how many of these women, they still think that, even though they've gotten older, they still think they're the fine woman they were in their teens and their 20s. Again, they still thinking this just like in their prime, but they're not like in their prime. And that's the harsh reality that this woman is running into, that many girls run into when they enter the world of acting. I mean, this is the same type of thing that many girls who are like 18 years old run into when they get off the bus on 7th Street in Los Angeles. When they get off that bus or they get off that plane at Bob Hope or LAX, they run into this same rude awakening where they came in thinking they were the hot chick on the block and they were going to go out here and take Hollywood or the entertainment industry by storm, and they wind up shocked when they find out, oh, there's like 300 hot blondes in line for these parts. There's 300 hot chicks, and some of them are even hotter than I am from different regions across the country. And when it comes to these chicks, again, they get a rude awakening. And what's sad is that this older woman wound up with that rude awakening. She never expected things to go this way, but if she had talked to some seasoned people in the entertainment business, they would have told her how hard this business is and how rough this business is, and saved her a lot of grief and saved her even more money. That's what a seasoned professional like myself would have told her. But sadly, this woman, again, strong, independent black woman, she know better than everybody because she got her college degrees, she got her education, and she's going to go out here and impress these people. Again, educated doesn't mean smart. No, educated don't mean smart at all, because this woman made a very chicken-headed decision to go out here and leave her good job in the place in Memphis to go to Atlanta to go into acting, when Atlanta, again, was a growing part of entertainment, but again, most of the real booking is done through these agencies. And again, if she didn't have an agent, nothing was going to work. You were just moving in futility, because if you don't have an agent that's calling you and saying, hey, I got some jobs for you, I got some go-sees I want you to go to, I got some auditions that I want you to go to, you're basically wasting your time. And when it came down to any good agent, they would have looked at this woman and told her, okay, you're 57, there ain't much material out here, and if you go out here and go into this, there's not going to be much that I can book you for.
I really didn't, because I'd always landed on my feet. And this is the first time I had not.
Well, there was no way you could land on your feet, because most people go into a fall when they first come into this business. They come into a fall in this business because it's a steep learning curve. I mean, it's a steep learning curve as related to this business, and even seasoned people, it's a steep learning curve as related to going out here and getting work. So she thought she was going to be able to land on her feet as related to, oh, I got my college degree, I got my education. Well, in the entertainment business, they don't care about your education. There are guys with Juilliard degrees who are struggling to get work. There are Academy Award-winning actors who are struggling to get work. There are Emmy-winning actors that are struggling to get work. And this woman, again, did not take that critical assessment of the business. We just got out of a WGA and SAG-AFTRA strike, which basically was something that basically reduced the number of jobs. And the number of jobs in this business have been going down ever since the Telecom Act of 1996. But sadly, this woman never got that education in the business. No, she didn't get that education in the business to understand, again, that the opportunities out here have been decreasing over the last 30 years as related to getting acting gigs, because the number of production companies out here have been shrinking every year since 1996, and the markets for projects like films and TV shows have been shrinking as we've been losing industries like syndication, and because streaming has grown. And ever since streaming started to grow, again, the budgets for projects has become a lot smaller, and the number of projects getting greenlit are not as many as they were over 30 years ago. Again, she was educated with the college degree at the top of her class, but sadly, even though she had that education, she wasn't doing research on the business to understand how the industry had contracted. Moreover, she didn't understand it's not about what you know, it's about who you know, because who you know can get you opportunities in the entertainment business. Who you know can get you a contact with the right person, and networking is very important. Networking is very important, and it's like what Kevin Greville was talking about when we had our live stream, again, how opportunities can come up. I mean, this woman was talking about going into acting. Was she looking at doing extra work? Was she looking at doing, different types of gigs? Was she looking at those opportunities? Critical question I have to ask, because when I listen to this woman, I just hear how green she was about the business. I hear how green she was about everything, and I hear how green she was regarding moving in this business, and it just really shows me how this woman, again, just really didn't understand how the business works, and doesn't understand how things operate, how as related to how this business goes. No, I listened to this woman, and again, it just shows me, you just cannot go on your dreams. You have to have a plan for how you do things. You have to have a plan on how you move. And I myself can tell you from experience, even if you have a plan, things can still fall apart, because when I first started my job at the library in 2008, I had a plan to go out here and publish books as related to the SJS, not even the SJS Direct Imprint. I was just going to publish those 3 manuscripts I had written: Cassandra Cookbook, All About Maryland, and The Temptation of John Haynes, and call it a day. That was my original plan, and I was going to work that job. But the day in October, God told me to keep going, and that's the only reason why I still wrote all of the books I've written so far, over 80 of them. And I know that if I was to get an offer today or tomorrow, I'd take that job, and I would stay at that job, and again, just put this business on the side and run it on the weekends, do the live streams here and there. You guys would only possibly get 1 YouTube video a week or 1 live stream. That would be it, because I would be focused on that job and doing the best job possible, hoping to, again, build up my savings. That's what I would be focused on, because I understand from being broke 2 times in my life how rough it is out here. And when it comes to the entertainment business, you got to, again, understand, you got to put your money first, because people are not going to put you first unless they know who you are. And again, this woman didn't understand this, because she had stars in her eyes, and as she had the stars in her eyes, she didn't see the reality of how brutal this business actually is.
So I went and I finally got a job and was working at a company. Had talked to them, told them I do acting. Every now and then I might need some time off, because I wasn't doing like big time. I wasn't gone all the time. It was fine. They hired a manager who had a problem with it, and she didn't want to give me any additional opportunities. She had issue with me, and I'm a worker.
Now, what happened here is similar to what happened to me at City College back in 2008, when one of these professors found out that I had written the first ISIS in 2002. And I can relate to this part of this woman's story, because what happened here is what she ran into were a group of haters, and the biggest mistake she made here was telling people she did acting. One of the things that you do if you are in the arts is you got to keep your stuff close to the vest. You can't say nothing about what you're doing. No, you don't say nothing about anything you're doing, because when it comes to a lot of folks out here, when they hear you're doing things like writing books, making comics, or acting, or anything at all, a lot of folks like to get salty and in their feelings. So the thing you got to do when you're doing things that are creative is you got to keep your mouth shut. Keep your mouth shut about all your projects, and keep that to yourself. No, you don't say a single word about what you're doing to anyone at all. No, what you say is, I just need to get some time off to, go take care of some personal business, and leave it at that. And you keep it real quiet, keep it close to the vest, because if people find out what you're doing, they're going to start getting jealous. They're going to start hating on you. They're going to start taking things personal, and take things personal because they see you making power moves. And as they see you making power moves, even if you are a dependable and reliable worker, because when I was working at City College, I was coming to work early, because I wanted to show how I was taking an initiative, and I would come in and again handle business. But the whole thing is, people don't care about how you're handling business. No, a lot of people, again, they got real jealousy for anyone out here doing anything on the side. You got a lot of haters out there who basically, when they see you talking about you an actor, see you talking about being a writer, and some of these people be doing better than you. Some of these folks, like this professor I was working with, again, this guy basically was one of these white religious guys, had a doctorate degree, was a professor and a head of a library department. I mean, dude, you doing all right. And during the performance evaluation, telling me how he's looking for somebody with a sales and a customer service background because he was jealous of the fact that I had written a book that I basically published through print on demand. I mean, dude's sitting up here with his grill cooking, even though he's got a house in New Jersey, he's making six figures. You sitting up there hating on another dude who's basically only making $26,000 a year. And that's the type of jealousy you deal with when you are saying, talk about what you want to do. And again, I tell anybody who's in the arts, you know, keep your stuff to yourself. Don't even if you got something going on like a YouTube channel, don't say a word about it. Don't say a word about anything you're doing, because what's happening with folks out here, they don't like the idea of somebody out here, again, going for their dreams, because they not really going for anything. They basically mad because they got a job that they don't like, or they got a life that they don't like, and they see this bringing you a little bit of joy. And when they see this bringing you a little bit of joy, that's when their grills start cooking, and then it starts steaming. And as their grills is cooking, they sitting up mad because you doing something in your life. And that's where this woman made the mistake, because she told her supervisors, oh, I'm an actress, I'm out here looking to go for this dream. And that's when this new manager heard about this. And with it being a female, again, when it comes to females, they basically are competitive with each other. And what this woman didn't know was this woman was competing against her. This woman was basically competing against her socially, because with her saying she's an actress, she's saying that she's in a higher social status in her eyes, even though this woman was basically struggling. And again, when you're dealing with females get jealous of each other. And again, as they get jealous of each other, they look to make things harder for that other female. And that's what happened here with this sister. Again, she made that mistake that I made back in 2008. I'm telling you, again, never tell people what you're doing. Never tell people you out here looking to accomplish something, because a lot of people, they when they see somebody out here accomplishing something, that's when they start, their grill starts cooking. That's when they start seething with anger. Oh, you wrote a book. Oh, you acted in a film. Oh, you out here, you did a play. Again, grills start cooking because they look at their lives, and as they're looking at their lives, they're seething with anger. Oh, look at that guy. He thinks he's so much. Look at that guy. He thinks he's better than us. No, it's just that a person took the initiative, made an effort to go for what they wanted. I mean, that's what people do. We go for what we want because we have the courage to go for what we want. And again, the mistake this woman made was telling people, oh, I need time off to act. No, you don't tell nobody at your job. You just say, look, I got to take care of some business again, and leave it at that. That's what you tell them. Okay, I'm going to go out here and I'm going to go do something. Because that's what smart people do. Smart people say, okay, you know, I got a doctor's appointment. I got an appointment. You know, you gotta understand that, again, you gotta think smart. You go take care of your business, and take care of your business in private. Don't ever broadcast it in public until you got the results. Once you get the results, then you broadcast your business. That's what I do with all of these books, like Isis Amori's Revenge here. And again, the other new books of the SJS Direct 2025 catalog. I don't talk about nothing until I got the project finished. And I do that because I don't want people in my business looking to sabotage me, because when you talk to people, again, their insecurities flare up. And when their insecurities flare up, that's where they look to derail your life and derail things. That's what happened to me with a family member. I was looking to go on the radio, talk about All About Maryland, my screenplay book, and their insecurities basically messed up something with me for a radio show. And ever since then, I keep things close to the vest. And I advise everyone, when you got something going, keep it close to the vest until it's finished. And when you get your payday and your paper, when you get everything taken care of, then you talk about it. And sometimes you don't talk about it until the moving van is at the new location. That's when you talk about it. When the moving van is at the new location and you are at the new location, that's what you do as related to things. Again, that's what you do as related to your business. You don't let nobody know what's going on until your business is done. And that's what I give you as advice as related to things. Yeah, D Wood, he did violate the 10th commandment, but the whole thing is people, again, every day participate in sins every day and don't know it. And again, that's why you have to be careful, again, about things and follow the word of God, because jealousy is a very dangerous emotion, and a lot of females, they practice jealousy all the time, and a lot of males, especially beta males, practice jealousy. And the thing is, you got to look at yourself, take an assessment of yourself, because jealousy is a very dangerous emotion, and it can just basically mess up people and derail their lives.
I'm dependable. Most of the time I was there, and I would look around and I would see other people not showing up for work.
And most of those people was keeping quiet about everything they was doing. They would not show up for work, but the whole thing is they kept quiet, and they kept their business to themselves. But sadly, this woman talked too much, and women do that all the time. They talk too much. That's what this woman did, and it basically messed her up.
Leaving early, coming late, and that's not how I work. I'm going to be on time. I'm sorry. I'm going to be on time. I'm going to work my butt off. I'm going to help you.
Yeah, that's what I thought I could do at that library, but the whole thing is people don't appreciate that at all. So that's why those people were taking off doing what they wanted, because they knew that they weren't being appreciated. This woman was thinking, oh, I can get appreciated, but the whole thing is people don't care about you at these jobs. No, that's why you got to go for what you want and do it on stealth mode, because these people, again, they gonna do what they want, and again, you on your own. This is another mistake this woman made, was thinking, oh, that these people are gonna help you. No, you're on your own at these jobs, and as you're on your own at these jobs, you gotta focus on you and taking care of your business.
I'm gonna support you. I'm gonna leave on, I'll leave at my designated hour if I don't have anything else hanging or, over. I eventually ended up leaving in April because she was riding me. And I was like, I am not going to put up with this. Well, sorry.
That's that old person thing, because a lot of older people have very little patience for folks out here. And again, a lot of these people, they get jealous of you. And she was riding her because she was jealous. She saw that this woman had aspirations to do things. And again, when these people get jealous like this, they try to get you out of the job because, again, you're representing things that they don't like to see, that you have perseverance, that you're going for something. And again, this person, again, doesn't have that passion to go for anything outside of this job. And again, when you're dealing with haters, again, they'll try to make you miserable. And the whole thing what you have to do to deal with this type of person is you got to be indifferent to them. You got to be indifferent to them, even though they want to push buttons. And that's when I would have been like, okay, I'm taking some time off. I'm going to keep this job, but I'm going to take some time off and do what I need to do. And I'm going to get this money because, again, this person, unless they say I'm fired, I ain't going nowhere. This is the mistake that she made. Unless they say they letting me go, I ain't going nowhere. I'm going to get this paper, and I'm going to get this paper and get paid because I'm here just for the bread. That's all I'm here for. If you're a person who's passionate about things like writing or art, you know that, again, this is a job that you just go to make money. And again, you come in with indifference. You don't come in with your feelings because this person's coming in with feelings. But you're here for this paper, and you don't leave unless you get let go. You don't leave anywhere. You just keep getting that paper and leave this person because eventually this person is going to have their grill cooking to the point where they wind up burning up their business. And again, all you have to do is just sit there and handle your business.
Check and see if someone else is there, but I ended up finding another job. I was working Amazon in the warehouse. Did that for a while. I actually enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. And eventually got another job. Okay, that was April. In July, started a new job in July 10th. It was a contract to hire position. So I was getting on my feet and everything. And I felt bad because my goal was the young lady I was living with, I was only going to be there a year. And I ended up being there the whole time, minus maybe a couple of months, few months. Because what ended up happening, I got my job, I was getting on my feet, I want my own place.
That was a mistake right there. I mean, no, if you living with someone and you are all right, you just keep stacking that bread. That's all you do is stack that bread. Because moving is extremely expensive. This is where this woman who already had spent her life savings basically made a boneheaded mistake. she went out here, got in her feelings about getting her own spot. Now, I know you want to get your own spot, but in the world of entertainment, if you, again, have somebody you're living with, again, you're splitting your bills. And again, part of that is basically when you split your bills, you have half of that money going into your savings. And the mistake she made was going out here thinking, I'm going to get my own place, not understanding getting your own place is going to take a lot of money out of your savings. And again, you don't want to take money out of your savings until you reach a place of economic security. You don't want to start spending money you don't need to spend. You just stay where you need to be. And again, just keep stacking that bread. Keep stacking that bread as long as you can. And again, just go out here stacking that bread. You don't go out here and start moving, because moving expenses is a bunch of money, and you don't want to spend money you don't need to spend unless you need to.
Moved out, and the place I moved into was roach infested. And I thought, okay.
Well, that's how housing is these days. A lot of houses are roach infested. I mean, there's nothing you can really do about that. I mean, you got to look into these things before you get into them. And this woman, again, running on emotion, not critically thinking, oh, I'm just going to go get my own spot. Not understanding that most of the spots out here, when your money is low, they're going to be run down. And again, when you're a struggling performer, it's going to be a lot of places you're going to ain't going to be the nicest ones. I mean, unless your money is established, you ain't really going to be going no place nice. And roaches is just a part of being in the business. I mean, people in the entertainment business, they go out here and they start out, again, in spots like that. That's how they start. But sadly, that's a part of life. And she didn't understand that was a part of life as related to the business. And sadly, she, again, made this tactical error of going to get her own place, wound up spending money on a deposit. That's thousands of dollars. First and last month's rent, thousands more dollars. Again, this is money she could have had in her pocket, but because she wasn't critically thinking, she wound up spending those thousands of dollars, taking a huge loss that she didn't need to. No, she should have just stayed in the spot with that roommate and stayed there in that spot until she got her money up to a place where she could go out here and be able to maintain her lifestyle as related to getting a better job. That's when you go out here and make that power move, when your money is right. But this woman, again, just really made bad fiscal decisions, and those bad fiscal decisions are what really derailed her.
Okay, maybe this is a fluke. I'm seeing a few. They terminated. It's probably been empty a while. But no. Y'all, I slept in my bedroom, tried to cover the door so they couldn't get in.
Wow, that's pretty stupid. Now, I lived in the South Bronx in Park Avenue, and I know all about these roaches. And again, you can't cover anything up to deal with these roaches. No, the only way you can deal with them is with glue traps. The only way you can deal with them is with combat. The only way you can deal with them is sometimes with professional exterminator packets. And again, you putting up a thing is not going to keep them from coming in because they're inside the walls. That's all a part of the infestation, is that they're in the walls. And they're in the walls because, again, the place was possibly got water issues, or it's possibly got issues with the compactors. That's another thing that goes on. Again, that's how they're getting in. And again, the only way you can combat them is with combat roach gel, combat traps, boric acid, and glue traps. That's the only way you can deal with them. That's the only way you can exterminate those roaches. And sadly, again, this woman didn't do her research. No, she just got emotional and sadly wound up throwing away thousands of dollars that she could have had that could have helped her out.
It didn't matter. They got in. I woke up one morning and there was some crawling up the wall. And I thought, I can't do this. I had ordered furniture and I had to cancel that order. I never unpacked.
That was a mistake right there. Why are you ordering furniture? I mean, you don't even have enough money to take care of yourself. Why are you ordering furniture? I mean, again, if you want to be an actor or actress, you don't have furniture. I mean, most people who are out here aspiring actors, aspiring writers, again, they barely have any furniture. What they got mostly is a bed in their house and a TV and a chair. That's about it. Usually, that's how much most dudes have. Some of them, all we have is internet and stuff, or cable TV. I know how my late father used to live when he used to live here in New York. I mean, he lived in apartment where he didn't have much, but the whole thing is he wanted to again keep his savings up as related to things, and he kept his savings up and again wasn't spending no money on nothing expensive. He had like one TV in his apartment, he had one bed that he had for years, he got his table and chairs off the street. I mean, nobody's out here buying furniture because again, when you're trying to get yourself together, you're not spending money on expensive things. No, you're getting ready to spend your money on things that are either going to make you money or spend money on things that are essentials like just basic bills. You're going to streamline your spending, but sadly this woman didn't understand how it works when you're an actor or a writer or artist. Again, you're living on a very shoestring budget until you get established, and even when you get established, you're still working on a shoestring budget where you're just spending on the minimum because you don't know where your next gig is going to come, and you don't know how your paper is going to flow when you have it.
And I would have to when I got ready to leave, but I finally was like, I've had enough of Atlanta. Nothing's working out. I'm broke. I can't seem to get on my feet. I'm not bouncing back. I was stressed. I thought, I'm going home, and I had been talking to my sister and everything, and I hate it because I felt like I quit too soon.
No, you hate it because you were embarrassed. You were embarrassed because you wound up going here. You thought, oh, I'm the educated black woman. I'm going to use my education and my degrees, and I'm going to impress these people. And it basically blew up in her face. And as it blew up in her face, she was going to come back with embarrassment as related to things of going out here to be an actress. And she could have avoided a lot of this grief. She could have avoided a lot of this grief if she just did go out here and do some Google research on acting and the entertainment business. Had she gone out here and talked to some people, and she's basically felt bad because she was going to have to go back with her tail between her legs as related to being what she thought was a failure. But the whole thing is that she wound up in this situation because she did not prepare. This is something that I learned from the Strive Job Readiness Workshop. If you want a job, you've got to prepare for that job. And sadly, this woman did no preparation. She just went, oh, I'm going to Atlanta because she heard it was the hot place for entertainment and thought, oh, at 57, I'm gonna be an actress. But she didn't do research to find out where she would stand as related to the marketplace. And in the marketplace today, when it comes down to black actresses, again, young, attractive black actresses are having a hard time finding work because there aren't many projects out there anymore due to the Telecom Act of 96 consolidating media companies and production companies due to the SAG-AFTRA and WGA strikes of 2023, further consolidating media, leading to less jobs, especially for black actresses, because, again, screenwriters don't write screenplays for black actresses because they can't sell screenplays for black actresses. Moreover, when it comes down to older black actresses, there's not much material out there, and whatever material is out there that's available, it's basically gonna get snapped up by people who can draw, like a Felicia Rashad, like a Halle Berry, and many other women like Kimberly Elise. They're going to be the first ones that get called because they can put that marquee name up on their posters and say, this person is in the movie, and say that this person is in the movie to get people to talk about it. Nobody wants to talk about a Celeste Jonah. Again, nobody even cares about a Celeste Jonah. No, they know that if I get a Leela Rashawn, I go get... And again, these were actresses who were young when I was a young man, and they are considered to be older actresses. I mean, these are considered to be older actresses. That's the whole sad part about this. And this is where this woman got it all wrong. Had she just did a little research that I did back in 2007. Now, back in 2007, I was writing the screenplay All About Marilyn. I put fingers to the keyboard talking about this 34-year-old actress. Now, I was about 33 at the time, and I had been reading stories in magazines like Essence about the struggles of black actresses and how hard it was for them to get work. And these women, again, a lot of them were in their 30s, some of them were in their 20s, and again, these are the prime years for black actresses, and they were talking about how hard it was. But this 57-year-old woman thinking she could go on God. As she speculated, she thought, oh, I'm going to be able to find jobs when you have women who are in their prime having a hard time. And this is as far back as 2007, and I even read an Essence magazine article as far back as the 1990s that talked about the struggles of black actresses. Again, this woman really didn't understand the business she was getting into, and had she just sat down and talked to someone like me, they would have told her, nah, keep your job, and if you want to do some acting, go find you a nice short film. I mean, and it's like somebody like a director like a Sally Richardson Whitfield or a Kevin Greville is working on. Find yourself a low-budget project where there is an acting job where somebody can refer you. And again, these jobs ain't going to pay much. They're basically going to pay like $1,000, maybe $500. That's all you going to get because there's no agent involved. And if there's no agent involved, you're possibly going to get maybe $1,000, $500 here or there. You do that acting gig, maybe they usually film in about a day or maybe 2-3 days as related to that project, and you can get all your acting stuff out as related to that job. You don't go moving someplace, oh, I'm going to move to this other part of this other city. No, these other cities, like I talk about in my book, Spinsterella Goth Girl Summer, coming out in May, I talk about how these cities are expensive, and again, the jobs don't come very quickly. No, when you are a 57-year-old woman and you got this bug for acting, there's a way to do this that basically protects your income, a way to do this to protect your income as related to the business, as your business, where you keep your job, you take your sick days, you take your personal days, you go on your go-sees, you go on your auditions that your agent directs you, or you go out here, work an extra job and possibly get some connections. But this woman didn't understand how things worked and basically got herself worked over. And I'm not even finished with this because I got a third part coming up after this one.
Too soon, and I gave up. But I did not. I felt as if I didn't have a choice.
Yeah, your money ran out. That's why you don't have a choice. You don't have, their money just ran out. And the whole thing is, that's what happens to many younger people who are in their teens and in their 20s. Their money runs out because, again, these towns are expensive overall. I mean, places like Atlanta, places like Los Angeles, and here in New York, real expensive. And what happens to a lot of younger kids is that their money runs out. And sadly, that's what happened to this woman. Her money ran out. And it can happen to anyone. And that's why, again, you keep your day job. And again, keep your feet grounded as you're looking up at the stars, like the late Casey Kasem used to say.
So I talked to my employer, and she said I could work remote if I committed for 2 years. Y'all, when you get ready to make a major decision, talk to God first. Because you can talk to people, and they will talk you out of what you ask God for. Because I asked God specifically, if I could have a job, I could work remote, I could stay with this company, and I could move back to Memphis. Well, in my ear, and then even me, so I can't blame it on them because it was my final decision. I decided not to work.
Oh, that was a chicken head move. That was a chicken head move. You have a deal for a job for 2 years. And again, this woman sabotages herself. I mean, you have a deal to work for 2 years remote. You can move back. You just take the job and move on. But again, that black female pride basically is in effect here. And because she was proud, she basically messed up another good job. Again, basically made a job where she messed it up. And again, this woman getting more opportunities than I ever got in my life in the last 15 years. If I even got one of those job opportunities, again, I'm staying right there. I'm staying right there. And maybe I'll do a book here or there. But the whole thing is, I'm staying on that job and getting this paper. I'm getting this bread. I don't care about anything else at that point. Again, that's the way I would do things. But this woman, again, just gets in her own way and becomes her own worst enemy.
I regretted that because I'm thinking I'll go back to my old company. That did not happen. And I'm still not there. I've been back since August of 2024, and it is...
Okay, she made this deal, again, as related to this company. And again, she was just coming out of desperation. She was just coming out of desperation as related to things. I mean, you went back to your old employer. You went back to your old employer, and they was going to give you another chance, even after you screwed up. And what's really sad here is that this woman, after screwing up, basically finds ways to continue to sabotage herself. And that's the whole sad part of this whole sequence. The saddest part is that she keeps sabotaging herself, and she sabotages herself because she just basically doesn't believe she deserves those opportunities, and she keeps messing things up.
What is this? This is February of 2025. I applied for several positions, and I have enough rejection emails from them. If I printed them out, I can wallpaper.
Well, I can beat her record because I filled out over 10 to 20,000 applications since October of 2008, and I was lucky to get only a handful of rejections out of those 10, 20,000 applications. I mean, I recently put in an application with the MTA a year ago, and they finally sent me a rejection 1 year later. I mean, I get rejections sometimes from people, again, 6 months, a year later, about jobs. Again, this woman, again, I can tell you that, again, those rejections are just a part of the business, and I'm just to the point where I've become indifferent about them. And she's saying she can wallpaper it. Well, I can go out here, and I could possibly go out here and fill an entire office tower with all the rejections I've got. And I've applied for companies like Target maybe 10 times at one store and 15 times at another location. I've applied at CVS and Walgreens multiple times. I've applied at places like Trader Joe's multiple times. I've applied at Best Buy multiple times. And I'm a guy, again, with a college degree and an A+ certification in PC repair. And I've got writing experience and screenwriting experience. And again, I can tell you, again, this was as far back as being 35 years old, that this is the rejections I was getting. And as time went on, I was still looking to get that next job, just not no big-time office job, anything even in a store. And again, this woman had great opportunities to get jobs, more opportunities than I would have, and just wound up blowing them. And again, continued to blow them and continued to blow them as she looked to chase a dream. And again, I was in this, I can relate because I've been in that situation. I can relate because, again, I wanted to be a writer who was published at a publishing house, but I decided, you know, I'll just do these books on the side. But the whole thing is, my entire thing got derailed because a guy got jealous of me at this library. I didn't know how much of a hater this dude was, but the whole thing is that I learned that, you know, you can't tell people anything about your business. But this woman's coming out here saying she moved back to Memphis, had the gig lined up, but then messed it up again. And now she's sitting there wondering about all these rejections. Well, I got you beat because, again, I got like 10,000, 20,000 rejections. I've applied for basically so many jobs here in New York City, and it's just I haven't been able to get that call back or in years. And I, again, can do these jobs. I can do a lot of these jobs, but, again, people just haven't been wanting to go out here and give me that call back. And that's the thing that's held me back. But I can understand where that woman was coming from. But a lot of this is her. She made the mess and messed up her own life.
Paper, at least one wall. I am not going back. I don't know what's on my file, but they...
No, you walked out on them. That's what you did. You flaked out on them. First you quit the job. Then you went out here and declined another offer. So people at that job don't trust you. They're not going to want to hire you because you've gone out here and basically gone out here and just made it where you're not somebody they consider to be reliable. You went out here, you told them, oh, I'm quitting my job to be an actress. You come back with your tail between your legs. Then you come out here and flake out on these people. They go out here, put themselves on the line for you, and you flake out on these people. That's what this woman wound up doing. Again, not understanding how things go as related to people, because when you flake out on people, they don't trust you at all. I mean, I just had this happen to me with an artist I wanted to do with Spinsterella Goth Girl Summer. I don't know if I'll ever trust that person again because they basically just disappeared. I asked them to do the artwork for the book, but they just disappeared, and I had to go find somebody else. So I don't, again, when you flake out on people, they basically don't see you as dependable. And this woman basically, again, had a nice thing where she was going to be able to work remote for 2 years, but flaked out on people and doesn't want to go out here and take accountability for flaking out on these people who put themselves on the line. And now she's out and nobody cares, and it's all her own fault, but she just has this deniability as related to things. But there's a reason why they don't want to hire her, and that's because they just can't trust her.
But they are not hiring me back. Period. So I've had to live with that. Before I left, my boss told me, don't leave. But I left anyway. Much regret. But here I am, February, and I realized, back in August, I moved in with someone, and it was not the ideal situation. I had conversations with this person before, and I should have gone with what I knew. In the beginning, the person didn't want me to move in, and I should not have. Eventually, she opened up her doors to me.
Well, people are getting tired of you. That's what it is. The whole thing is they looking at you as a 57-year-old woman who doesn't have her stuff together, and they're looking at you as somebody who's going to be a burden to them, someone who's going to be a problem to them, because here you are at 57 and your stuff is not together. I mean, people looking at you and saying to themselves, you know what, this chick basically, she's again doesn't know how to manage her money, doesn't know how to handle her business, because I'm looking at the decisions this woman is making. She was living with someone and could have got her bread stacked up, moved into the roach infested place, then decided to move back to Memphis. Again, you're blowing thousands of dollars in storage fees, blowing thousands of dollars in deposits, and nobody knows if you're somebody they can depend on. And again, it's basically a frustrating, intense situation because you're dealing with a person who is not somebody who's showing any sort of capability of responsibility for themselves at 57. I mean, here's a woman who is almost 60 years old, almost retirement age, and she doesn't have her head in the game, as related to life. And we're looking at her, and she's sitting up there saying, oh, I have to move in with this person who has their stuff together. Is looking at this woman and saying, look, why can't you get your stuff together? I mean, you basically keep blowing things, and this is people getting frustrated with her, because this woman cannot seem to get her life in order, can't seem to get stuff moving. And again, people get frustrated with you. I know all about this because it was one of those things that caused a lot of friction between myself and my late father. He wanted to see me go out here and have a job. He wanted to see me go out here and have some success and have a break. But the whole thing is I kept running into chicks like this who were on the job, creating the HR brick wall because they were projecting their man onto me. And again, I look at this woman, and again, she's sitting up there not understanding how she's looking. I mean, you've been moving all over the place. You don't have a direction for your life. Stuff is not being organized. And that basically is what happens to the strong, independent black woman who does not have a man. If there's no man there to give her guidance and set direction for her, and I'm seeing this pattern because she talked about how she had a boyfriend in college, and again, didn't want to submit to that man who possibly was looking to give her some wisdom and give her some guidance. But this woman, well, again, thought, oh, I got college degrees, I'm educated, I know better, but really shows us all how she doesn't know anything at all.
And it wasn't horrible, but there were challenges.
No, they were holding you accountable. That's what it was.
And there are other things I won't discuss.
No, you won't discuss how they're holding you accountable. They were making you take responsibility. They were expecting you to follow rules within structure. This is the things this woman didn't want to talk about. She didn't want to talk about how the person she was with was expecting her to take ownership of her life and wasn't going to make her a victim. No, they were expecting her to carry her own weight. That's where she had the tension. People were expecting her at 57 to get herself right. But this woman, again, 57, but still 16 in her chicken head. In her chicken head, she's still 16. And that's what's going on here with this woman. And that's why she doesn't want to talk about it, because here's female nature as related to accountability.
But there were challenges. But she allowed me. We set our rent. She's very kind about it and everything because I was still looking for a job. So I just tried to make sure I could give her, what we agreed upon every month. And I did. I got here. I door dashed. I did anything I could. Mostly was DoorDash to make money so I could try to keep up with my bills. Something happened and I felt it was time for me to move out. I did get a contract position in October, but by that time I was behind on a few things, not severely. Moved out, got my own place, and I am happy about having my own place because ain't nothing like going home and it's quiet. Run through your house, however you want to. So, um, decorate how you want to, move things around like you want to. You know what I'm saying? Moved in, just felt that, apply for the apartment, applied, moved in. It's a good apartment complex. Rent is not ridiculous. It's decent in my opinion. Still on a contract position, trying to make ends meet. They are waving at each other.
She shouldn't have moved out. This is somewhere, again, she keeps spending money she don't need to spend. Again, you may be having friction with this person, but the whole thing is you want to stack your bread. That's what you want to do, is stack your bread to the point where you have your bread in a place where when you can get a real full-time position, you can be stable. She's got a contract position. I want you to hear that word, contract position, and she's out here, again, spending money she don't need to spend. No, what you want to do is stack that bread real high and get that bread real high. Now, when she talks about things as related to things not merely meeting, she's got debts, I believe, because when it comes down to females like this, they go out here spending money. I talk about this in The Woman Crisis. I talk about how women like to spend money and rack up debts. The things you got to do is, again, get your finances in order. Make sure that you have zero balances as related to your bills. And after you get zero balances on your credit, what you do is keep stacking that bread. You may not tolerate that person or may not like that person, but as long as you covering your bills and your part of the bills, you stay there as long as you can. And you stay there as long as you can to get your bread stacked up nice. But this woman, again, she does the chicken head move. She's constantly moving. And again, not understanding that moving is money. Moving is money that you're taking out and throwing away. Again, she's moving all over the place instead of having a stability. And again, having stability is important because this is how you, again, set your base. And then after you do this, you save up your money and stack up your bread. But this woman is a textbook example of what happens with feminist indoctrinated women. A lot of them are not good money managers. A lot of them are not good life managers, and they make a mess of their lives due to impulsive decisions. I talk about this in the later chapters of The Woman Crisis, and this is a textbook example of the kind of feminist indoctrinated woman I talk about in The Woman Crisis, who again goes out here and messes up her money in her old age, and messes up her money in her old age to the point where it's just a complete mess. And again, a mess because she doesn't know how to manage money or take care of her own business.
Every now and then they shake hands. And I don't know what happened in the last 30 days, and it just seemed like everything, it's as if the bottom is falling out. And I go through this, God, I've done everything I believe you've asked me to do. I do need to have a little bit more joy behind it. I believe I'm where...
No, the one thing you didn't do with God was obey him in the beginning. You didn't obey God in the beginning as related to the whole situation with becoming an actress. Now, I believe that the Most High, when she had this idea to go out here acting, possibly told her not to do this because she had people who, again, gave her counsel, but she didn't want to follow that counsel. She didn't want to follow that counsel, and this is why she's in the situation she's in, because, again, she doesn't want to follow or submit to the leadership of anyone, including the God she says that she serves. Even the God that she serves, she said she's not looking to follow that leadership, and this is the big problem with this woman. She's one of these feminist indoctrinated women who basically, again, wants to go out here and lead herself, not understanding that you need to follow the order of God. And that's where she's basically, why she's on this road to becoming one of the 70% of black women who are single, caught up in this paradigm of failure, caught up in this paradigm of failure because she doesn't know the ultimate level of success is obeying God and trusting in God. No, she didn't trust God. She didn't have faith in God because she didn't want to submit to God, and she didn't want to follow his order, and she didn't want to submit to men because she had a man. But the whole thing is she doesn't want to follow anybody's lead. No, she's a strong, independent black woman who thinks she knows better than everyone, and this is why she's in this paradigm of failure that she's in.
I'm where I'm supposed to be. I believe I was supposed to come back to Memphis. I believe I was supposed to go to this place, do this, X, Y, and Z. Why am I struggling? Where is the support?
You're struggling because you don't know how anything works in life. You're struggling because you keep spending money that you don't have to spend. You're struggling because you keep making bad fiscal decisions. You struggle because you don't go out here and seek out godly counsel. You're struggling because you keep going out here and thinking you know better than God. That's why this woman is struggling. That's why this woman is having such a hard time. She keeps going out here and getting in her own way. This is something I see with a lot of educated people. They get in their own way because they think that they know better than God because they've got their college degrees and they got all this book knowledge, but they don't have no knowledge of how the world works as related to God. They have no understanding of how life works as related to people. They have no understanding of how things work overall, and they have no understanding of how anything really works. That's the real problem with this woman. She thinks she knows better than God, and sadly, every decision that she makes that she thinks is better than God basically puts her in a worse situation. I mean, you had the support, you almost had that other job, but you again flaked out on those people. You had good jobs, but you refused to take them. God was setting up things for her, but the sad part with women like this is that even though God puts things in place for them, they don't really see them because they're so busy looking at what they want in the world. I mean, it's very similar to what I wrote with Lilith Graves in my novel Eternal Night. You can't really see what God is providing for you because you basically take God for granted, and because you take God for granted, He provides for you so that you can go out here and do things a certain way, but you want to do it your way. You want to do it based on the ideas in your head. I mean, I was almost that way myself. I remember myself thinking, oh, I had to go by the book, when God told me going by the book isn't His way, because the way He facilitates things is so that He can get the glory. And the sad part is with this woman, she wants the glory but doesn't want to give God the glory, and that's why everything falls apart for her. Everything just falls apart for her because she wants to do things her way, which is what many strong, independent black women want to do things their way. And as they look to do things their way, they miss out on God's blessings of a more abundant life. They miss out on God's blessings of a more abundant life because they keep getting in their way. And again, as they get in their way, they miss out on those blessings because they are the ones who are their own worst enemies. And again, that's what I see here with this woman based on my observations. I'm not trying to be judgmental, but the whole thing is that she basically is sounding like her own worst enemy, getting in her own way,
and I keep thinking back, he set everything up, and I feel like I spit in his face, and I'm being punished.
No, you're reaping what you sowed, more than what you sowed, greater than what you sowed. And again, you put these seeds in the ground because you wanted to walk away and chase this dream without seeking out that counsel. I mean, the first thing a person needs to do when they go out here and are looking to get into a high-risk business is go out here and do the research. That's what I did when I wound up looking to get my first John Haynes book published. I went out here and I did the research. I went to the library. I went and learned about the publishing industry. I learned on my own, learned about the query process. And again, I wanted to just have my day job. This is something I wanted since 1994 when I got out of college, was just to do the day job and mind my business and possibly just go submit some books on the side. I never meant to go full-time with this like I'm doing right now. No, I'm just trying to follow God and keep going like He told me to do. That's what I'm trying to do right now. But I always, again, originally wanted to just get a day job, mind my business on the day job, write on the side, independently publish the books in the background, not tell anybody about them outside of social media here and there, excuse me. That's all I was going to do. I wasn't going to go out here, letting everybody know, oh, I got this book out here. I mean, that's something I learned, again, after 2008. You never do that again. And again, if I had gotten another job, I would have been on stealth mode. You wouldn't have known I was writing these books. I just did them on the corner and just do little shows every couple of months here and there. And that's the way I would have operated. But the whole thing is, this woman, she's out here, she doesn't understand that she basically, again, was blessed by God with opportunity after opportunity, but kept blowing every opportunity. And again, blowing opportunities because she wants to do things her way, which is the way many feminists are. Because the feminist, again, she want to do it her way, don't want to go God's way, doesn't want to submit to God because she's too proud to submit. And that's what happens when you don't submit. You wind up taking a fall, and that's what's happening here.
I know that's not how God works. These are the repercussions of my own actions. And I'm not angry at him, but I am angry with myself. And it's been...
No, I think she's angry with that dude from many years ago, and that's basically colored a lot of her decisions, is the anger she had with that dude, with that relationship that failed. And that anger combined with these feelings that she has about failure are doing a number on her. That's what I believe is happening here with this woman, is that she basically still never got over this dude. Because this is like I talked about in that video a while back, where I said that a lot of women basically, again, when they get the spirit and DNA imprinted on them, again, there's no breaking down those walls, because as long as that guy is imprinted on them, every decision that they make, it just is colored by that guy. And that's what I believe is happening here with this chick. Her decisions are colored by that guy, and it did overall damage to her all around.
It's been tough.
Well, that's life for a man.
I have one person who I tell everything to. And I know somebody watching this thinks it's them, but it's not. Sorry, I almost went somewhere. Because I realize you cannot share with people even if they're considered a friend. I just got to a point where I was tired of being stuff thrown back in my face. No.
Well, that's life. I mean, that's why people keep things close to the vest. Again, when you're out here in life, you cannot go out here telling your business, because a lot of people are haters out here, just like I said before. A lot of people get jealous of you. They get jealous because you have the courage to go for what you want. Some people get jealous because you're doing better than they are. Some people get jealous as related to you just being you. And again, this woman, she again made the mistake that many women make in talking too much, because one of the mistakes women make, because they're emotional and very social, is they talk too much and they let people know their business. And this is what basically gets women messed up. And this woman basically talked too much, not understanding how it worked out here. Now, a man understands, look, I got to keep things close to the vest until stuff is in motion. I'm not saying nothing about nothing until we got things going. I ain't saying a word about nothing, because people will derail stuff. And even worse, people will throw things in your face. This is one of the reasons why I don't have a girlfriend, because if I had to tell her about what happened with the brain aneurysm, I know that she was going to throw it in my face at 1 minute. So that's one of the things I know about people. And again, known this ever since I was a kid. And again, you have to understand, you got to keep stuff close to your vest. As related to life, you got to keep things really close to your vest. Don't really say nothing about nothing. Again, until things are in motion, that's when you start talking about something. Otherwise, you keep your mouth shut, but you keep your business out here and keep it quiet. You keep it quiet because the only thing that's going to keep it going is you getting out of your own way. And again, this woman, again, she needed a man to give her guidance on how to move. I see a woman who's single, who needed a husband, needed a man in her life to give her that guidance, needed a man, but sadly did not have a man. And because she didn't have that man to give her some guidance, this is why she's a woman in crisis. She's a woman in crisis because she did not have that man to go out here and give her that structure, give her that order, set off a structure for her, and listen to her and talk to her about how things work, because the way the world works for men, again, is different than women. And again, because the world is harder for men, we can sit down and advise you on what course of action to take, so that you don't get jammed up in life. And again, when you have a man there to give you some guidance, again, he'll tell you, 57, you cannot be no actress and going and trying to get no gigs. And the whole thing is, you'll hear this from an agent who will tell you the same thing. Look, there ain't that many roles out here for no 57-year-old woman. There's not much money out here for no 57-year-old woman. That's what a man is going to tell you as related to this business. And she needed the guidance of a man. And again, this is what happens when you don't have a man. You wind up putting yourself in a situation that just messes up your life.
No support.
If you had that support of a man, you wouldn't be in this mess.
Just need people to listen and let me just have my moment and not criticize me for it. But I'm gonna leave that over there.
You would have had that if you had a husband.
But I have someone, I consider her sister, a really good friend that I can talk to, I can call, she'll pray with me. She understands the spiritual things I'm going through, as well as the physical and the financial. And I don't feel horrible when I get off the phone, where with so many other people, I feel like crap. I am hard enough on myself, and it's difficult because I think back to who I am. I'm
listening to her, and it sounds like to me she's supported by the sisterhood of failure. Again, another woman confiding in other women. Major mistake. Again, this woman needed a man in her life, and again, all of her problems, I believe, started because she walked out on that man. And again, she's sitting there saying all the things she's asking for as related to that statement are showing me that these are things that a husband does. A husband will give you his ear. A husband won't be harsh on you, but he will present the facts to you. A husband will give you that guidance. And again, this is a woman who needed a man in her life, needed a husband in her life. And again, had she had that husband and not the counsel of women, because again, the sisterhood of failure is always about making misery in your company, making misery all around you. That's what the sisterhood of failure is all about. And again, this woman basically is a product of the sisterhood of failure, a product of that sisterhood of failure that has basically jammed her up. And sitting here, again, she's confiding in women, not understanding women are your competition, and they're looking to eliminate you, as related to life. That's what this woman didn't understand. And when it comes down to you talking about dreams of being an entertainer, again, women get really salty about that because you are representing competition to them. And again, with an older woman, you're representing competition to them for men because they're going to look at you and go, oh, you're an actress, and basically see you as a threat. So she really didn't have a support network because she didn't understand the nature of other women and how catty these women are and how jealous these women are and how hateful women are. She didn't have that man to give her that balance and give her some perspective. And this is where she's going to go and start talking about her education and how smart she is, even though she made some really dumb decisions.
I went to school to college on an academic scholarship. I graduated with honors. I'm talented. I'm smart.
No, you're not smart. You're educated. Again, educated does not mean smart, because a smart person would understand that the odds in the entertainment business are 1,000,000 to 1 for a teenager in her prime. An 18-year-old girl in her prime has 1,000,000 to 1 shot, and a 57-year-old woman who is menopausal and is past her prime, her chances of making it in the business are 1,000,000,000 to 1. So this is not what a smart person does. No, a person who has an education but doesn't understand how the business works. Again, this woman wants to say how smart, again, going on this degree to try to cover up her failures and to compensate for the failures in her life. Failures in her life because of her bad decisions. That's what's happening here. This woman wants to start talking about her education, but she needed the counsel of a man. She really needed that counsel of a man, counsel and guidance of a man. And if she had that submitted to God in God's order, she wouldn't be in this chaos right now.
I have a great work ethic, and it's just been hard because I'm not making the money I was making.
Well, you're doing better than I am because, again, you at least have a job and you're making some money. I mean, if I was in your place 15 years ago, if I was in your place today, able to make a living like you were, I would be thanking God about whatever I would get and working with the best that I've got, because that's what I've been doing for the last 15 years, just basically working with what I've got, working on shoestring budgets, and just out here doing the best that I can. And this woman, again, still can't count her blessings that she's doing somewhat okay, and she cannot appreciate what God has done for her. No, she's sitting here lamenting being 57 and broke, but never really understanding that the reason why you're here is because you don't want to submit to God and God's order. You don't want to put things in his hands and leave it in his hands. You want to do things your way, and your way ain't the way.
Making. But God knows I am so grateful to be working. And I've just panicked because I'm trying not to resort to any of my old ways.
Well, this woman basically wants to not be going back to her old ways, but the whole thing is she doesn't see how her pattern is basically a paradigm of failure. Like I talk about in my book, Why 70% of Black Women Are Single, this woman's got a paradigm of failure and a pattern of failure of making mistakes, continuing to make mistakes over and over again, and continuing to make the same mistakes over and over again. I mean, God basically has delivered her from this delusion that she has had as related to life. She's basically delivered her from this whole thing, and instead of her going out here and thanking God for showing her how the grass on the other side looks like shit, smells like shit, and tastes like shit, like I talk about in my books, The Legendary Mad Matilda and Spinsterella Goth Girl Summer, I mean, she basically has learned that hard lesson, but still it hasn't resonated with her. It hasn't really resonated with her as related to life. And that's the whole sad part about this 57 and broke actress, is this woman basically had things going good in her life and basically derailed her own life, chasing a dream that if you just had one person to show you reality, again, would show you that reality to understand, this whole process, again, is a slow process. When it comes to the entertainment business, everything moves on very slow time, and this is why you don't quit your day job. And if you have daydreams about being in entertainment, you go out here and understand, you got to ground yourself back with reality. I go in depth on this in Spinsterella Goth Girl Summer, coming out in May. I got Spinsterella Goth Girl Summer, where I show you how it really works in this entertainment business, and you really have to understand, again, you got to get these stars out of your eyes and see reality. I mean, that's what this woman didn't do, because she had that mental maturity of a 16-year-old or a 14-year-old, even though she was one of these college-educated black women. She still had no understanding of how to be educated about how the entertainment business works, and she thought everything was going to fall into place. That's not how it works in the entertainment business. No, you got to go out here and grind with the entertainment business. You got to go out here and grind hard. And again, you grind hard because this business is a rough one. It's not something for greenhorns. I mean, this whole business of the arts, whether it be writing, whether it be art, I mean, it's a hard struggle. I know I've been in this for the last 15 years. And even before that, I was sending out queries. And again, I was just putting little money out there because my focus was, look, yeah, I wrote a book, big deal. It's not important to me as related to keeping this job. My thing is to keep this job. But the one mistake I'm not going to make ever again is telling people that I'm a writer, or telling people that I aspire, that I've published books, because I know there's a lot of haters out there. And when you've got haters, again, these people, they go to Amazon, they see your name, they start getting mad, their grills start cooking, they start seething with anger, they want to argue and fight, and they want to argue and fight because they see you out here doing things, even though these books basically in some cases don't sell very well. They sit there, and just because it's there, you're getting mad. And again, this is what you got to deal with as related to things. Again, you got to deal with it. And people will think that, oh, you out here, again, putting in that work on stuff. But the whole thing is you got to put in work in secret. I'm repeating this once again. Put in that work in secret. And again, when you go out here and you accomplish things, that's when you start telling your coworkers. When you go out here and get the success, that's when you start talking. Until then, you keep silent. But the whole thing is with this black woman, again, I'm not looking to bash up this sister. All I want to do is give people some perspective about the entertainment business. I want to give some people some perspective as someone who studied this business. And again, as someone who studied this business, I wish I could have sat down with this woman. She says she wanted to go back in time. I wish I could sit down with this woman and tell her about the struggles of black actresses that I've known about since about 1995 or so. And back in 2007, could tell you about the script All About Marilyn and the struggles I got to try to get this script sold. Because, again, when it comes down to the entertainment business, they don't buy scripts for black women, especially scripts that have black female leads. These are the ones that are at the bottom of the totem pole. These are the ones that are the least sold. I wish I could sit down and talk with this woman and get her to understand how this business worked. I wish I could have sat down and talked to this woman, because it would have saved her about a good 3 years of grief in her life, and basically could have kept her from basically making mistakes that could have derailed her life. I mean, that's one of the things I wanted to talk about in that radio show that my family members sabotaged me from being able to do. I wanted to sit down and again talk about the struggles of black actresses, because these struggles are ones that have been known for years. I mean, many A-list black actresses are sitting here, Academy Award-winning actresses like Halle Berry, who said she was going to kick down doors in 2002. No, all those doors are still up, and black female performers are still having a hard time finding work. That's something that is a known fact, and again, a known fact for years. I wish I could have sat down and talked to this woman, and again, talk to this woman and get her to understand how rough this business is, even for an attractive black woman. And again, a woman past her prime would even have a harder time than that. And again, I wanted to go in depth with this live stream to show you how this 57 and broke actress went wrong, and hopefully teach everybody about this business and get a better understanding of how the entertainment business works. Now, it's 1:08 a.m. here in New York, and this is the longest live stream I've done in over years. I mean, in the 5 years I've been doing live streams, I haven't stayed up this late to do things, but I'm really passionate about this subject. I wanted to go in depth on this subject, and I go more in depth on, the issues this woman was having in my books, The Woman Crisis. And you can get that book on Amazon.com, along with other books that I have written, such as Why 70% of Black Women Are Single, and books that I wrote about black actresses in Hollywood, such as All About Marilyn. I mean, I go in depth on all of these issues in The Woman Crisis, Why 70% of Black Women Are Single, and All About Marilyn. And you can get all three of those books on Amazon.com right now in paperback. And you can get The Woman Crisis and Why 70% of Black Women Are Single on Kindle and other online booksellers. And you can get the 2 books of the SJS Direct 2025 catalog starting in March 21st. You can get John Haynes' A Thorn in My Side in paperback, and you can pre-order it now on Kindle and other online digital booksellers. And you can get Esteemed Season of the Witch Girl on April 25th, and by pre-ordering it now on Kindle. And you can go out here and again pick up other books in the SJS Direct catalog, such as Isis Amari's Revenge. And you can also pick up my comic John Haynes at Death's Door on Lulu.com. And if you want to, help out the channel and help me to be able to stay on the internet, you can drop a donation to the Cash App or the PayPal and basically help out the channel. It's greatly appreciated. I mean, every one of your donations, I try to, like if you have a video request, I always try to fulfill those video requests very quickly. I mean, I'm always working. And again, I'm working because, it's a struggle out here at 51. I'm still trying to, again, get things together, and get stuff going. I'm trying to follow God and keep going, and I can do that with your help. And again, I really, feel for this woman, because I know what it is to wear those shoes, so I understand where this woman is coming from. And again, I want to thank everybody for coming out to tonight's live stream, and I hope you'll be there for next week's stream. Everybody have a good evening, and everybody have a good night.